Have you ever thought, man, I want to deal damage, tank damage, disrupt positioning, stop positioning altogether while playing a character that isn't too hard? I guess what I'm asking is, do you ever want to just let go and ape out, then just play Lenox?
I'm used to this.
Lenox is an ex-mafioso turned fisher, but I mean, looking at the fact she's in these experiments, she's not doing the best at hiding it. I mean, look at what she wears to go fishing. She's dressed like she's about to go to a con and have a bunch of weebs pay her to stomp on them. And knowing the Eternal fan base, that's probably what you guys are hoping for. That being said, you probably want to know what makes this character so strong, and I'm here to teach you the ropes, as well as whip you all into shape. Get it? Lenox's passive is bait and tackle. Bait allows Lenox to get extra items every time she fishes around the map. 85% for common, 14% for uncommon, and 1% for rare. And tackle gives Lenox a shield based on 6, 10, and then 14% of her max HP for 3 seconds if she hits an enemy with a basic attack or skill damage, refreshing every 18, 13, and then 8 seconds depending on its level. Now let me just be real. Bait is cool lore-wise or whatever, fisherman, blah blah blah, but tackle. Fucking tackle. Fucking goddamn son of a bitch tackle. That shit is that's just insane. It literally gives you such a fat shield that you're forcing people to fight a Dark Souls boss. And even if they ignore you, 8 seconds later, when they think that you might be human again, it just pops. Now let's say they burn through your shield and they're trying to fight you while your passive is on cooldown. Wait a second, no they aren't, because you have Force Field, which gives you a second HP bar, because of course you do. You're in this lobby and you're making it everyone else's problem. Good on you. Now, Lenox's first ability is Recoil. She whips a circle area around her, dealing 60 to 200 at max level, plus 50% skill amp to enemies. She deals extra skill damage equal to 2% of her max HP to enemies hit by the edge of the circle. And the cooldown is reduced by 0.5 seconds per stack, gained by enemies hit with Recoil. This ability is your main form of damage. You can literally just click this button off cooldown when in combat and it will do its job and it'll do it well. You don't even have to think about it. Okay, maybe think about it a little more than I do, but overall this is what you'll be using most of the time to chunk enemies who are trying to kite you. Lenox's second ability is Snakebite, or as I like to call it, nope. Want to try to run to your team? Nope. Want to use a movement ability? Nope. Minding your own damn business, building? Not on my watch, motherfucker. This ability is a two-parter. Firstly, she snaps her whip around herself, doing 20 to 80 plus 35% skill amp damage, and slowing enemies by 20% for 1.5 seconds. The second part, however, she sends her whip out flying, dealing 50 to 150 plus 60% skill amp damage, and dragging her enemy in front of her. If you're new to Eternal, you probably don't know this, but this shit used to be on all whip characters as their D skill. And thank the Lord that it isn't, but instead they gave that shit to Lenox with a way shorter cooldown just to make sure her combos still work. Now I know what you're saying, combos? Sour. This character is supposed to be simple so that my geriatric grandma can finally queue ranked with me so I don't have randoms who are somehow worse than her. Don't worry grandma, because her combos can be learned in the time it takes for everyone to load into the briefing room. First all you have to do is nope their ass towards you, and then that's it. But maybe that's not enough for you and grandma. Maybe grandma took her one-a-day vitamins and is feeling a little dangerous. Well, let me introduce you to Lenox's third ability, Whiplash. Lenox sweeps her whip in an area around her, dealing 60 to 280 plus 50% skill amp damage, and pushes or pulls enemies, depending on the direction of the skill. The enemies hit are slowed by 30% for a second. So this move can help just in case they get too close to your carries, or just get too close to their own team, or too close to you. It doesn't matter. This is your escape and anti-escape tool. By angling the whip towards you, you can pull enemies in, which does interrupt other abilities, so your backline can have fun wailing on the poor melee that just wanted to play some internal return. And if you don't feel confident in hitting Snakebite, go ahead and just push them towards you with Whiplash and use Snakebite as a knockup. I mean, who cares? You're Lenox. You chose to win on the character select screen, right? Lenox's final ability is Blue Viper. Lenox quickly attacks twice in an X shape, and applying Blue Viper for 4 seconds. For 2.3 seconds, enemies take 5 true damage depending on how far they move. Hitting an enemy with both attacks deals 20 true damage depending on how far they move. And all of that just to say it makes them bleed when they move. The solution you would think to this is to not move, right? Well, you're wrong, because if you stop moving, you are just a sitting duck waiting for Lenox's team to blast your ass so hard you'll be sitting on the results screen wondering if he'll ever call you back. Now that you understand your abilities, it's time to understand when to pick Lenox. Literally at any time in solo queue. People in solo queue only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting. To play squishy, ranged DPS. And as a Lenox, it's your job to frontline and keep them from killing themselves like the babysitter you are. And if by the glory of one of the omnipotent observers above, you get another frontline, you can still play Lenox and just have one of you focus more on damage while the other plays protect the squishy. While I'm not a Lenox main myself, I will give you a quick idea on what the route I go is. Starting in alley is hell, but since you don't need much, I usually go there so I don't have to trouble with it later. After grabbing all my items in alley, I dip out to either gas station or temple teleporters, and that is depending on my initial spawn. Afterwards, I'll get into a stream where I usually get my leather from chickens while walking up to teleporter and stream itself. Finally, I make it to dock and spawn in some cards to finish my weapon and build there, and from there I try to farm all of the dock animals until night 1 when bears spawn. Then I do something like this to try to get all the farm possible on the bottom side of the map. If you want more ideas on game plans or just routes in general, I do recommend using the Character Mains Discord, which I'll link in the description. With all that information, you should be solving all your issues in Lumia Island with a little back alley diplomacy in no time.